Ethical hackers are on the rise because of the advancement in technology. A lot of organizations have been a victim of cyber attacks, which increases the need to safeguard their network, which can be done by professional ethical hackers. Economic purpose. Ethical hackers are tasked with protection of sensitive data by finding loopholes in the system as well as creating high-level encryption for the critical data. Thus, protection of sensitive data that may be an intellectual property or a trade secret of an organization would serve the economic interest of that organization or the company. For example, a company which creates software code for missile guidance systems requires highly specialized cybersecurity professionals in order to prevent the code falling into wrong hands.
What is the difference between ethical hacking and like cracking or like illegal hacking? Um, I like to explain when people talk to me about hacking and they don't understand really what it means and they take it as a negative thing because nowadays hacking has become synonymous with criminal activity, which is not the case. I try to explain to people 200 years ago, hackers were called inventors or creators or artists. That's what hacking is just seeing the way the world is and saying, I can do something different. I can make it do something different. And trying to change that, trying to change the world around them to make things work a different way. I think the difference is one, it's just one big difference permission. Regular hacking is, going out with permission and exploring and creating and building things or breaking them. And then the cracking or the illegal attacks and stuff, is criminal activity. They don't have the permission, they're doing it against the law. I don't think it should be a black hat or a white hat or a gray hat. I don't think there should be hats. Either you're a hacker or you're a criminal. When a banker commits fraud, when a stockbroker commits fraud, when these other professions, when they commit a crime related to their profession, they're not listed as a black hat banker. And there's white hat bankers, which are good bankers, or a black hat stockbroker. They're criminals. And that's the designation. They're criminals, and they used to do banking, but now they're a criminal. So that's the way I think we should approach hacking. If I get paid to drive people from one place to another for money using my car and my abilities, then I'm like a taxi driver, and that's legal. That's a proper, profession. If I get paid to take people from one place to another for money, using my skills and my vehicle, and I'm a getaway driver for bank robbers, well, that's illegal. It's using the same skills, it's using the same techniques and the same tools, the vehicle, but one is committing a crime and the other one's doing it to earn a living. So I think that's the biggest difference is permission. It's like we shouldn't try to designate any kind of other form of hacking. It should be hackers are hackers. They're good people that are trying out there to create, that are trying to use computers, that are finding vulnerabilities to help in better protect everyone on the internet. And then you have criminals who use the tools that hackers have and hackers have created to commit crime with them. Just like gunsmiths aren't the ones that are robbing the banks, it's like the hackers aren't the ones that are committing the cybercrime. That would be the criminals doing that. The next question is, why is there an urgent need for ethical hacking professionals? I think better questions like, why is there a need for so many security professionals that have the hacking ability and hacking skills? And quite easily, it's because of the ease of use and the predominance of cybercrime. Back in 2002, the FBI did a survey and they said that there were 20 million people in the world that had the means, the motive, and the ability to commit a cybercrime. 20 million back in 2002. That was when it was difficult. That was when you had to actually learn how to run the scripts in the Linux environment yourself. That's when you were literally a script kiddie because you had to run the scripts by yourself. Now you have a whole Linux distro that is all pre installed, the tools. That's when you had to figure out how to run the exploit and how to load a shell and get a shell on a machine. Now you have Metasploit where you just point, click, and root. So if that was, and it was not that pervasive back then, it's like that was a lot of people committing crime back then or having the ability to when it was really difficult. Now it's extremely easy to commit cybercrime and it's also very profitable. So I'm thinking now it's like you have way at least 40 million or more doing this. So there is definitely a need and a desire to get good guys and out there and getting the right people that are learning the profession in a proper way to help defend people and help defend corporations and networks and prevent this kind of activity, criminal activity, from occurring. So it's just going to grow because more things are getting connected to the internet. More devices are just computers that do other functions. So those things are going to increase. The demand is going to increase because you need people out there helping to protect. So yeah, I see nothing but an increase of that because there's just going to be a demand because when in the Stone Age, a person committed a robbery by using a rock and knocking the person upside the head and taking their things. Then in the Bronze Age, the bad guys realized, well, the rocks are no longer as effective as these, daggers, these knives, and these swords. These are way more effective. So I'm going to use this to commit my crime, no longer using the rock. And then it got to the age where people were using bows and arrows. And they're like, well, this is way more effective than a sword. I can do it from a distance. I'm going to use this to rob people. And then the guns came around. And then people realized, whoa, guns are way more effective of robbing and stealing from people than the bow and arrow was. So we're going to use that. And now, this day and age, criminals have found out, whoa, the computers are way more easy and efficient at committing crime than a gun is. I'm going to use that. That's basically how they see the computers. They don't have the passion to do hacking or that drive. They're just criminals that have found a very efficient tool to commit crime, and it just happens to be a computer and skills and stuff that a hacker uses. Have I ever faced legal problems regarding my hacking? I am one of the fortunate ones, and most of us are fortunate. It's like people that really do that in-depth research are ones that have to face legal ramifications sometimes. But no, I've never faced that. Even when I've gone on engagements, I've never had a point where it got to the point where I was about, something legal was going to happen where I had to deal with the lawyers or anything like that. I've had to deal with the police from time to time, but I've usually talked my way out of those instances, even though I shouldn't have. In a couple of them, I did anyway. So I've never really had a problem with the legal side of it, and also because I've never done anything that was illegal. All the things I did under the permission of the company that hired me to break in. So I never had to worry about any legal ramifications of it.
Legal challenges related to ethical hacking. The Information Technology Act 2000, which regulates the cybercrime in India, is silent about the cybersecurity professional. The Evidence Act 1872, which has a section 45 on the expert, the opinion of expert, but it does not talk specifically about the cybersecurity professional. But after the horrific 26/11 Mumbai attacks, a national security database was conceived. The objective was clearly to identify highly skilled cybersecurity professionals with hands-on skill in critical cyber security domains. NSD is recognized and supported by various industries and the Government of India organizations. It is managed by Indian InfoSec Consortium, a Government of India recognized apex body for cybersecurity professionals in India. NSD serves the local, state, and national law enforcement agencies in India mandated to protect homeland and national security. International challenges. The first international treaty seeking to address Internet and computer crime is the Convention on Cybercrime, also known as Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. It provides for harmonization of national laws, improving investigative techniques, and increased cooperation among nations. It was drawn up by Council of Europe in Strasbourg, France. It is also silent about cyber security professionals and their protection. Cyber warfare through hacking. It is the use of cyber weapons such as virus, worms, and malicious software to wage war against a country or a nation. Stuxnet, or malicious computer worm, to shut down the centrifuges of Iran nuclear plant. Such cyber weapons are dangerous and so complex that it is very difficult to even detect them. The cross-border hacking which has been going from a long time between India and Pakistan, which resulted into hacking of various government websites, is a serious problem. There are no legal remedies due to the lack of jurisdiction in cyberspace and internet. Only highly specialized cybersecurity professionals can prevent such attacks. There are various stakeholders, companies, organizations, or individual, government, or an organization. They all need a cybersecurity professional for their protection. Lack of laws for the protection of cybersecurity professionals is one of the main reasons due to which there are not many cybersecurity professionals. Secondly, the public opinion about such ethical hackers prevents them from coming forward. Lastly, the number of people with the technical knowledge to become cybersecurity professionals are very, very limited. Thank you for listening.